funny thing is, I feel like I'm gonna spend half this video talking about Anastasia, and I don't fuck with Anastasia, but let's talk influencer collabs. I know it doesn't matter if I smell good in a video, but it matters to me. We're gonna be putting on a little of Sniff Crumb Couture. Now, when it comes to following beauty YouTubers, beauty YouTube drama, the whole influencer genre, I've been in it since day one. I'm a ground zero diva. We're gonna rate some of the influencer collab makeup that I've purchased over the years, and I'm gonna give you a little tea. Now, disclaimer, I don't have a problem with majority of these influencers. There's maybe one or two that I could tell you a little something about, but majority of the product here that we're going to talk about, I'm just talking about the product. I'll talk about the brand, but we're just going to start getting into it. I'm going to give you a ranking between 1 and 5. 1 being, I regret spending money on this. 5 being, I will buy backups. Please never get rid of this. Come back, come back, come back. Throwing it back to one of my all-time favorite influencers, Desi Perkins did a collection with Benefit many years ago called the Bomb Ass Brows. This collection, when it came into Ulta, I was working at Ulta at the time, and this was insane that we had packaging that said Bomb Ass Brows. I thought it was really iconic. People were very up in arms about this. It did come with a Precisely My Brow Pencil. It came with the 24-hour brow setter, brow pomade, foolproof brow powder, and then a highbrow pencil. I heard recently highbrow has been discontinued, and I was very devastated about this. This collection was such a perfect marketing idea because Desi Perkins went viral multiple times for her insane brow transformation. When I tell you I've used this maybe once when I first got it, the products are all still in the packaging. It came in this limited edition rose gold packaging, this beautiful reflective box here. Look at all this other stuff we got going on. This was such a beautiful, well thought out collaboration. She went viral for her brows. She loves Benefit. Benefit obviously loves Desi. This is a collection that I thought was really cute. A lot of these products don't exist anymore. On a scale of 1 to 5, I would give this a 4 on the Bring It Back. This next collection, you can see how much dust is on top of this box. This has never been opened, never been used. This is apparently the hashtag Whitney by Tarte. It looks like the influencer that this is in collaboration with is Whitney Simmons. This was actually sent to me, I believe, in a BoxyCharm box many years ago. It's still wrapped in its initial wrapping tissue paper. I've never opened this. I've never used this. Tarte is not a brand that speaks to me particularly. They've had some products over the years that I have enjoyed. Whitney Simmons is apparently a fitness, lifestyle, and health blogger. That's not me. I don't know. The packaging's cute. I liked the Man-Eater mascara when I tried that, but I never tried this palette, never tried this lipstick. I honestly found this in the back of a drawer behind like 5 million other things. So on a scale of 1 to 5, I didn't pay for this, but I would still give it a 1. This video is probably going to be 5,000 years long, so I'm going to speed round a couple of these. This is the Made by Mitchell P. Louise Acid Rain brush set. I do have a couple of the original Acid Rain pigments, and those I will give a 5 to. This brush set was really cute when it was curated. I'd probably give this a 3. So averaging that out overall for the P. Louise and Mitchell collection, I will give it a 4 out of 5. Up next, we're going to talk about a palette that I wore to death. This is the Violet Voss Nicole Concilio palette. Nicole Concilio has the most beautiful, gorgeous eyelid space. I love watching her. Still to this day, I follow her on many platforms. I've loved Nicole Concilio for forever. This palette she came out with Violet Voss, you can tell I loved the blue and I loved the black. I use these all the time. But in like 2017, I purchased this palette and I used this for like smoky, really grungy eyeshadow looks. I loved this blue. I loved this black. And there is this shade Zozo up top here that I used for my inner corner highlight probably every day for a year. When I worked at MAC, a lot of my like really rusty eyeshadow looks when I worked for MAC were actually from this palette. And to this day, I still love this palette. Nicole, if you're watching, I love you. On a scale of 1 to 5, I would give this palette a 5. I would buy it again today if they re-released it. If they came out with a second edition, I would buy the second edition as well. Throwing it way back, this is the original Anastasia Amrezy palette. I worked for Ulta when this palette came out with these teeny tiny little pans. This palette it's very run-of-the-mill for what Anastasia used to be in this time frame. I do love the little leopard print packaging. It looks like a good soft glam palette with a couple pops of color. They did obviously come out with another Amrezy palette. They came out with the Amrezy highlighter. This palette in particular, I'd probably give maybe a 2 on a scale of 1 to 5. It's cute, but it's not anything revolutionary. Now, speaking of revolutionary, we're gonna get into the second Amrezy palette. First and foremost, let's hear it for the dress. Let's get a little commotion for the back of the dress. This glitter packaging truly was next level when this came out. Once again, I'm gonna say I worked at Ulta for a lot of these. I worked at Ulta for almost 10 years, you guys. I worked at Ulta for what feels like forever. This palette I sold to everyone for probably a good 3 months after this came out. Like during the time frame that this was available for sale, I showed it to everyone. This shade up here, Barb, this like pink green shift, I use as my inner corner highlight. I used it a lot on my cheek as highlight. This eyeshadow palette with the pinks were everything, and I really loved this sparkly blue as well. So if this palette was to be brought back 1 to 5, I would say 5. I'd spend my money on it again and again. Honorable mention, the Amrezy highlighter. This is my used one. This one is still brand new in box. I have a secondary highlighter of this, so honestly, this would be a forever repurchase. 1 to 5, 10. Staying in the realm of Anastasia, one of my all-time favorite influencers, Jackie Aina, also released a collaboration palette with Anastasia. This is my used Jackie Aina palette. I also have a second Jackie Aina palette in this box here. This palette, beautiful packaging. The fact that Jackie had this major worldwide collaboration with Anastasia was huge. And if you don't remember the promo video for this, the promo video was iconic. I'm going to insert it here. The shades on this palette, beautifully universally flattering, but beautiful on deeper, rich skin tones. This like greeny, brown, green shift, this shade Sponsored, was gorgeous. Lituation was gorgeous. People, when this came out, were outraged over Wiggalese, which I think is so fucking funny because it's like not that serious. This palette is truly everything to me. And honestly, like I said, I do have 2 right here. So if this was to come back, I would get another. I went through such like, call me the capitalism final boss, whatever. Call me consumer number 1, whatever. Anastasia's limited edition palettes, especially when it was with someone that I loved, I would buy multiples of because I got scared I'd run out and never be able to get it again. So I do have 2 Jackie Aina palettes. On a scale of 1 to 5 for the Jackie Aina palette, I'm gonna say 10. Honestly, Jackie is one of the influencers that I have followed for 10, almost 15 years. I will continue to follow and support Jackie. I love Forever Mood, but this palette truly was like a game changer for me. The funny thing is, I feel like I'm gonna spend half this video talking about Anastasia, and I don't fuck with Anastasia, but a lot of these products were purchased back in a time when I did. Speaking of this Nicole Guerriero Glow Kit, this shade Forever Lit was everything to me. You can see that this one is pretty well loved. I do also have a backup of this one in one of my other drawers somewhere. Nicole recently has been, I don't know what's going on with her recently. I also don't know what's going on with Anastasia recently. Like I said, currently I am not fucking with Anastasia, and Anastasia clearly is not fucking with me. That is a long story for another day. But this palette was gorgeous. I did buy a backup of this because I wanted to hold on to this. When this came out, I imagined myself wearing this on my wedding day, thinking that I was going to get married in my 2016 glam makeup. My makeup today is not too far off from 2016, but I did think that this would be something that I'd wear on my wedding day because it was a formula that I loved. It was such a different formula from the other glow kits, a beautiful shade range. Kitty Cat, this light pinky, was stunning, especially for the fair divas. This worked beautifully. 1 to 5. I'd probably say 4 if I was going to buy it again because I do already have a backup, and I don't know what's going on with Nicole lately, but I do love this product. I promise this is the last Anastasia product we'll be talking about in this video, but this is the Anastasia Carli Bybel palette. This palette came out either shortly before or shortly after the Jackie Aina palette, and it definitely did not live up to the hype of the Jackie Aina palette. Not to pit 2 divas against each other, the Jackie palette was just definitely revolutionary and something different. The Carli Bybel palette was cute. It was fine. It was weird to me that it only had 6 mattes and a lot of shimmers. I liked this red when I used it, and I liked this orange when I've used it. I've honestly only ever worn this palette probably twice. I have not kept up with Carli Bybel for many years. At one point in time, I did have her BH Cosmetics palette, and then I think I threw it away. I don't know what's going on with Carli. I haven't kept up with her. It's a cute palette. The packaging is interesting with the little mirrored circles. Mine has lash glue on it. Sorry, Carli. The Carli Bybel palette from Anastasia. If I was going to buy this again, I'd say probably a 1. It's not for me these days, but that's okay. I'm gonna make this section a little shorter. I do have the entirety of the Iluvsarahii and Dose of Colors collection, including all of the lipsticks, glosses, and highlighter. I'm gonna keep it fairly simple just by showing the eyeshadow palette. I really liked this eyeshadow palette. I thought it was super cute. The full collection is really cute. I got a lot of wear out of the lips. So the full collection, if it was to come back on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd say 3, I'd buy it again. Just the palette on its own, maybe a 1. It's a cute palette. It's definitely a companion palette. You would need another one to finish out a look, but I loved that sparkly black when I used it. On the Dose of Colors train, we're moving to Dose of Colors Desi Katy. The original little palette, so cute. Noli, Sue's, Harpoon, Turbo. These shimmers I used to death. You can see this palette is well loved. I loved this collection. Desi and Katy, like I said, I followed Desi for a long time and I love Katy. I loved watching their videos together. I love watching their collabs, all of their makeup videos. When the original Dose of Colors collection launched, remember I set an alarm to get up at 4 in the morning so I can make sure I was ready in time to purchase the original collection. Then when the second collection came out with the big Friendcation palette, I did buy this and I did buy a second of this. So once again, Capitalism Final Boss. I do have 2 of these palettes. If the Desi Katy Friendcation palette came out or they did another Friendcation collection, 5 out of 5, I would immediately purchase immediately. Speedrun, MAC PatrickStarrr. When I worked for MAC, these came out. Patrick was such an inspiration for me and I was a MAC boy. He was a MAC boy. If these 2 palettes came out again, 5 out of 5, I would purchase. If the Tropical palette came out again, I'd say 4 out of 5, I would purchase. If the Springtime palettes came out again, 4 out of 5 would repurchase. Honorable mention for the MAC PatrickStarrr powder. I know we have the one size powder, but back in the day, this powder was everything. This was the limited edition holiday one, clearly unused. With this powder, I do have the original release that came with the silver top in the clear component. I have 2 of those currently in my makeup backup. Once again, I don't know if I still have a reason to hold on to it, but I do. It was, once again, I thought it was going to be my wedding makeup. MAC PatrickStarrr powder, 5 out of 5 I'd purchase again just to give it a shot. This is the Bretman Rock WetnWild highlighter. I don't even know if I ever use this, if I'm being honest. I don't think I ever used this. It was cute. I like Bretman. 3 out of 5 I'd repurchase. I no longer have the original Jaclyn Hill palette, but I do have the Jaclyn Hill Morphe Volume 2 palette. I could have sworn I had a secondary original Jaclyn Hill palette somewhere, but I don't anymore. I'm going to insert a picture of me using that palette though, because I remember when I first did this makeup look, I tweeted it and Jaclyn retweeted it and then put it on her Instagram story. And I loved that palette in that little like blue-green corner. This though is the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. This was more of like the pinky reds and purples. I also abused this palette. It doesn't look super, super crazy, but let me tell you, this bottom 2 rows were very well loved. If this palette was to release again, maybe 2 out of 5 I'd repurchase. We definitely have more options when it comes to bold, colorful, pigmented makeup, but at the time, this was kind of like that girl. Continuing on with Morphe Jaclyn Hill, I do have all 4 of the Vault palettes. When I purchased these, it was when they had the stickers that went on because they needed to recall the first batch. I got 2 of these in gratis when I worked at Ulta. You can see the green lines through 2 of them, which would I buy these again? 1 to 5? Fucking 0. 2 of these worked like shit. 2 of them worked fine. 2 of them were horrendous. Now this palette though, the Jaclyn Hill Divine Neutrals. Jaclyn, I don't know what your middle name is, Elizabeth, Marie, Rose. This palette of the Divine Neutrals, I fucking ate this shit up. I loved this shit. This little corner, when I was like my pumpkin spice vanilla latte bitch, this corner, it's still to this day, I'd still use this palette. I'm not even like a huge neutral bitch. This is like as neutral as it's been in a long time. I'm not even wearing eyeshadow. And this neutral palette, if this was re-released by another brand with the same amount of pigment and the same amount of depth, I'd probably 5 out of 5 buy it. The problem is a lot of brands that are in this neutral ass fucking marketing renaissance don't have depth and warmth. Everything is neutral. Everything is chalk. Everything is beige. Everything is light tan. I'm tired of clean girl. Bring back pigment. This next one I'm not so proud of. Urban Decay Kristen Leanne. This is before we knew. This is before we knew about her. This is before we knew how terrible she was. This was fun. Urban Decay was fun. Urban Decay had color. Urban Decay had new formulas. Urban Decay had new packaging. This palette was fun. To this day, would I still use this palette? Probably not. It's no longer jaw-dropping, show-stopping, stunning, amazing, never before been done ever. Would I use another product that had this woman's name tied to it? Most certainly not. So in the grand scheme of things, on these 1 to 5, would I buy them again? Fuck no. Getting into a couple more present day collaborations, e.l.f. and Mikayla. I really liked this lip combo when I wore it. I like her. I love this lip combo. 5 out of 5 I'd repurchase. Speaking of Mikayla, this is the Mikayla Glamlite palette. This palette is leaking glitter. You can see glitter all over the mirror. The glitter is falling out of the top. Would I repurchase this? 1 out of 5. I think I've gotten maybe 5 uses out of this and I keep forgetting I own it. It's cute though. Last Mikayla product, I promise. This is the P. Louise Mikayla palette to have and to hold when you get cold. Their wedding palette. P. Louise might be corny sometimes, so you do got to give the packaging up to her. It's a light up palette. I love the shades in this. All of those blues I've gotten tons of uses on. I do really like the neutrals. If this palette was to come out again, would I purchase it again? 5 out of 5. I've gotten so much use from this palette. I do love the colors of it. It's a little big. There are a couple duplicate shades, but I do really, really, really enjoy this palette, and I have gotten a ton of use, so 5 out of 5. Great job, Mikayla. I think the last product we have to do is going to be the most controversial.
Lord, I'm having a heart attack. Damn, this is some scurvy shit.
Now, yes, I still own this palette. Have I used this palette? No. I've been saving this palette because I want to do a TikTok so bad of like a high quality, beautifully produced video destroying this palette. This is the palette that I purchased. The day this palette launched, I got to Ulta 2 hours early to start my shift and waited in line to purchase this palette. And I bought 2 of these palettes and I gave one away on my Instagram and it was a whole fucking hullabaloo because this palette sold out like crazy. Would I use this palette to this day? No. Would I purchase this palette again? 0 out of 5. Fuck James Charles. Fuck what James Charles has done. Fuck what James Charles stands for. This palette? No. Thank you for watching me go through some of these old influencer collabs and let me know what influencer collabs did you buy, what would you rebuy, and what would you never buy again. Bye, divas.